everybody. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gray Bryant, and I am the mindfulness instructor here at Kinetics Wellness Studio. And I hope everybody's happy and healthy and adjusting to all of the daily changes in our lives. I think we're probably all experiencing some disruptions right now as the coronavirus, which is officially known as, I think, COVID-19, continues to disrupt our lives. And I know we're all doing our best to try to follow the World Health Organization's preventative measures like social distancing, and doing our part to reduce those number of cases that are going around. And that includes us here at Kinetics, which is why my introverted self's nightmare is kind of coming true with having to make some videos for you guys. But we at Kinetics, we know that mindfulness and meditation can be your best friends. And when you're faced with scary news or anxiety, we're here to continue to offer and support our guidance. So a big contributor to the storm of anxiety in our communities is the space between what we currently know about the virus and what is still trying to be discovered. And that's leaving a lot of us very worried and very fearful. Anxiety is defined as a feeling of nervousness or unease, typically about an immediate event or something of an uncertain outcome. So anxiety, it comes up in our prefrontal cortexes, where we don't have enough information accurately stored to predict the future, right? And this is what we're seeing right now with the coronavirus. So additionally, anxiety can also be contagious. So in the psychology world, it's called a social contagion. And it's when our own worries can be triggered by something as simple as another person talking about that same anxiety. So words of worry, they can just be like a sneeze, right? Jumping out and landing in our prefrontal cortex and sending our thoughts spiraling into what will we get? If this happens to us, are we going to get the coronavirus? Are our family members going to get it? Are we putting other people at risk? What will happen with our job? Are we going to be able to find the groceries we need? Oh, the toilet paper. So mindfulness can help you recognize these moments when you begin to feel overwhelmed. It lets you be aware of your anxiety, and it helps you to strike the balance between informing yourself, but also recognizing the effort needed to take care of your own personal mental state. So what can we do to ease our worries right now? That's a pretty big question probably a lot of people are asking. First off, remember that some anxiety is appropriate, right? It's an appropriate response at times, especially right now. Anxiety up to a point, it almost acts as a kind of like a motivator for performance. So there is a point, like a tilting point though, where too much anxiety affects anything that we're doing. So we can't think critically is what happens. We kind of get stuck. We start to get more anxious, and then it just kind of cycles from there. So by understanding that you're experiencing fear, you can recognize the situation for what it is and where you're adding your own personal anxieties. So just a few things that can kind of help you. Number one, I recommend staying active. So maybe go for a walk, get outside, use all the wonderful videos that a lot of instructors like ours at Kinetics are posting to help you stay exercising at home. So that's a great thing to do. Build healthy habits. So I know a lot of us have heard about wash your hands. People are finally learning to have the habit of washing your hands. So one thing that I might recommend is when you're practicing washing your hands and those healthy habits, you can do that with a mindful meditation. So I prefer to do this practice with the 4 traditional loving kindness slogans, and it's pretty simple and it's pretty easy to remember. And it's just, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, and may I learn to live with ease. And each time you recite the sequence of lines, you try to visualize a different category of sentiment, changing the I to you. And you would just fill those in with those you love, those you don't love, and those you've never met. And these 3 categories, they cover the entire spectrum of how we relate to other beings, which would be attachment, aversion, and ignorance. Another thing we can do is get a good night's rest. So a good night's sleep. Sleep hygiene is very important. So avoiding caffeine before bedtime, turning off our phones, avoiding screens, and so on. That can help activate our bodies for our sleep cycle. So if you can't sleep, also you could maybe try a sleep meditation like the one I'll probably be posting later on in the coming week, which maybe will be helpful for some of you. Another thing you can do is just try to grow in your wisdom and awareness. So this, I think, is key. Becoming aware of your thought process just by calming down and allowing yourself to see what's going on and just coexist what's going on. We can't change it, right? We're just travelers here. So for example, I've noticed that I have a really bad habit when I'm talking to people of touching my face. And we all know we're not supposed to do that right now, right? So I've noticed that I have the habit of doing that. And now that I've noticed the habit, I can be on the lookout for when I act on that behavior. So for example, if I am starting to worry, like, oh no, I touched my face, maybe I'm gonna get sick. So instead of panicking, we can just learn to take a deep breath. And we can ask, well, when was the last time I cleaned my hands? So for me, that was probably about 30 minutes ago, right? I'm thinking, oh, I just washed my hands. So by taking that moment to pause and ask the question, we give our prefrontal cortex a chance to come back online and to do what it does best, to think. Just think, weighing the evidence of these thoughts. So I've been sitting in my home doing this video. I just washed my hands about 45 minutes ago. I haven't been out in public since then. So what are the odds I'm going to contract an illness? Pretty low, right? Pretty low. So this is just called awareness training. The more we can see the positive feeling and effects of good hygiene and compare them to the negative feeling of uncertainty or getting caught in anxiety, the more our brains naturally move towards the former because it feels better. It's been shown to reduce anxiety. In one study in particular, it reduced anxiety to anxious physicians by 57 to 63% within 2 to 3 months. So the good news is, with all the social distancing, you have time to learn and reap the benefits. And in case you're curious, the study was done by Brown University. So if anybody out there would like that link to the article, just shoot me a PM on my Instagram page, which is just Kinetics Mindfulness, or you can just also message us through Facebook. So if you want that link, I'm happy to provide it. So practicing mindfulness, it lets you be aware of your anxiety and helps to strike the balance between informing yourself, but also recognizing the effort needed to take care of your own personal mental state. So how do you cultivate mindfulness, right? That's the question we're kind of asking here. One way is to meditate. So today what we're going to do is we're going to practice a basic method where you focus your attention on your own breathing. It's a practice simply called mindful breathing. Pretty easy to remember, right? So if you're able to set some time aside each day to practice this very, very simple technique, you'll find it easier to focus your attention on your breath in your daily life. And that's an important skill that helps you deal with stress, it helps you deal with anxiety, it helps you deal with negative emotions, it helps you cool down when your temper starts to flare up and kind of go crazy, and it can also sharpen your ability to concentrate. Our breath regulates our stress response system. It's like our brain's remote control. So learning to acknowledge the breath, learning to be with the breath, learning to control the breath, that's a very important thing, especially during times of anxiety. So the most basic way is just mindful breathing. And if you guys will just bear with me for a second, I will guide you through a mindful breathing exercise. The most basic way to do mindful breathing is to simply focus your attention on your breath, the inhale and the exhale, the ebb and the flow. You can do this while standing, but ideally you'll be sitting or even lying in a comfortable position. Mindfulness exercises are best done before eating. And if you've had a drink, especially one with caffeine in it, allow those effects to wear off before you try to meditate. Your eyes could be open or closed, but you may find it easier to maintain your focus if you close your eyes. Sometimes in a deeply stressful moment, square breathing may help you. I'll have something posted tomorrow on my Instagram about that, but for today we'll practice an exaggerated breath, which can also help during these times. Let's practice. Taking a deep inhale through your nostrils. 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 2, 1. And a long exhale through your mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's practice one more time. Taking a deep inhale through your nostrils. 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. 2, 1. And a long exhale through your mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you don't need to start with a round of square breathing or an exaggerated breath, simply observe each breath without trying to adjust it. It may help to focus on the rise and fall of your chest, or the sensation through your nostrils. As you do so, you may find that your mind wanders, distracted by thoughts or bodily sensations, and that's okay. Just notice that is happening and gently bring your attention back to your breath. If you're comfortable, let's begin. Settling into a comfortable position, either on a straight-back chair or on a soft surface on the floor, with your buttocks supported by cushions or a low stool. If you use a chair, it's very helpful to sit away from the back of the chair so that your spine is self-supporting. If you sit on the floor, it's helpful if your knees actually touch the floor. Experimenting with the height of the cushions or stool until you feel comfortable and firm and supported. If you find sitting to be uncomfortable, you can always take a laying down position, such as corpse pose. Allow your back to adopt an erect, dignified, and comfortable posture. If sitting on a chair, place your feet flat on the floor with your legs uncrossed. Gently close your eyes. If you need help with posture, it may help to imagine a light thread attached to the back of your head, pulling your head gently upwards and allowing your spine to lengthen. Now bring your awareness to the level of physical sensations by focusing your attention on the sensation of touch and pressure in your body where it makes contact with the floor or whatever you're sitting on. Spend a few moments exploring these sensations. Coolness, warmth. Just noticing how they feel. Any numbness or tingling in your toes. Just exploring. Now bring your awareness to the changing patterns of physical sensations in the lower abdomen as the breath moves in and out of the body. When you first try this practice, it might be helpful to place your hand on your lower abdomen and become aware of the changing pattern of sensations where your hand makes contact with your abdomen. Having tuned into the physical sensations in the area this way, you can remove your hand and continue to focus on the sensations in the abdominal wall. Focus your awareness on the sensations of slight stretching as the abdominal wall rises with each in-breath, and of the gentle deflation as it falls with each out-breath. As best you can, follow with your awareness the changing physical sensations, all the changes in the lower abdomen, all the way through, as the breath enters your body on the in-breath, and all the way through as the breath leaves your body on the out-breath. Perhaps noticing the slight pauses between one in-breath and the following out-breath, and between one out-breath and the following in-breath. We call this our still quiet place. There's no need to try to control the breathing in any way. Simply let the breath breathe itself. As best you can, also bring this attitude of allowing to the rest of your experience. There's nothing to be fixed, no particular state to be achieved. As best you can, simply allow your experience to be your experience without needing it to be other than it is. Sooner or later, usually sooner, your mind will wander away from the focus of the breath. It will wander away to thoughts, planning, daydreams, worries, drifting along to whatever. And this is perfectly okay. It's simply what minds do. It's not a mistake or a failure. When you notice that your awareness is no longer on the breath, gently congratulate yourself. You have come back and are once more aware of your experience. You may want to acknowledge briefly where the mind has been. Then gently escort the awareness back to a focus on the changing pattern of physical sensations in the lower abdomen, renewing the intention to pay attention to the ongoing in-breath or out-breath, whichever you find. However often you notice that the mind has wandered, and this will quite likely happen over and over and over again, as best you can, congratulate yourself each time on reconnecting with your experience in the moment, gently escorting the attention back to the breath, and simply resume following an awareness, the changing pattern of physical sensations that come with each in-breath and out-breath. As best you can, bring a quality of kindness to your awareness. Perhaps seeing the repeated wanderings of the mind as opportunities to bring patience and gentle curiosity to light. The next time you practice this on your own, continue with the practice for 15 minutes, or longer if you wish. Perhaps reminding yourself from time to time that the intention is simply to be aware of your experience in each moment as best you can, using the breath as an anchor to gently reconnect with the here and now. Each time you notice your mind has wandered and is no longer down in the abdomen, follow the breath. You may wish to focus your concentration by counting your breaths. On the out breath, you could say 1 quietly to yourself, and then 2 on the next out breath. When you reach 10, start at the beginning again, saying 1, 2, 3 on the out breaths. You can modify this practice to fit your needs. Now take a few moments and be with the breath. And practice independently until you hear the sound of the bell.